The British commitment in northern Iraq is steadily increasing. Tornadoes took off today to provide surveillance for new aid deliveries. Now the government has decided to deploy Chinook helicopters too. And Britain will soon be flying in not just aid, but military supplies for Kurdish forces.
There is a balance to be struck between the risks of doing this versus the accuracy we can get with being relatively low. We take that very carefully into consideration when we're planning these humanitarian aid missions.
The US involvement is growing too. There's only been a handful of airstrikes to reduce the threat from Islamic State militants, but there are hundreds of American troops and trainers on the ground. And the word from Washington tonight is that more military advisors may be on their way. Yet when the US and Britain have for so long refused to go into Syria, why intervene in Iraq now? Well, far more than Syria, the US and its allies have deep-seated interests in Iraq due to its profitable oil industry and for historical reasons too. 2 wars fought there since 1990 and a US-led occupation after the fall of Saddam Hussein. If Iraq implodes, the West will share some of the blame.
The big issue here is that they're safeguarding an investment. They're also safeguarding the investments of other countries. And that's what's happening. They see Iraq as being more valuable from an economic standpoint, being more valuable from a strategic standpoint, and also being more valuable from a security standpoint than Syria.
But if the West wants its intervention in Iraq to stay limited, what is the long-term strategy? The short answer is to stave off the worst, an Islamic State victory turning Iraq into a haven for terrorism, or internal sectarian tensions tearing the country apart.
I think the West's political strategy in this case is really to buy time. They have to somehow preserve the government in Baghdad, to preserve a Kurdish autonomy in northern Iraq, to hold as much of Iraq together as possible. If they don't do something, Iraq will simply disappear.
It's not just the West's concerns over how to solve Iraq's crisis that matter. A new central government in Baghdad, strong enough to hold the country together and counter the extremist threat, will only work with support from Iran too. Which is why Tehran's backing today for the new Iraqi Prime Minister designate is so important. One good piece of news today, Iraq's outgoing Prime Minister, seen as part of the problem, may now step down without a fight. But it could be Iraq's crisis is already out of control. Bridget Kendall, BBC News.